Now, have you thought about swapping out your snow boots for some flip-flops and some tan lines? Well, if so, then Sacramento, California might be calling your name. Sacramento is known for its sunshine, diverse culture, and thriving economy, and it's quickly becoming a top choice for residents moving to California. But before you pack your bags, you have to ask yourself one question: is moving to Sacramento, California still worth it? Now stick with me to get a better understanding, because in today's video, we're gonna be covering the cost of living in Sacramento, California versus the quality of life. And then you can decide if moving to the greater Sacramento metro is right for you. So we're gonna start by diving into what the cost of living is like in Sacramento, California, and compared to some other cities in the state of California and around the country. And then we're gonna jump into what makes Sacramento such a special place, and you can see if the juice is really worth the squeeze. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lance with the Living in Sacramento team, and I am a Sacramento native, born and raised, but also we are part of the Living in Sacramento real estate team, which means that as much as we love making these videos, we love helping you more with all of your real estate needs. So if you're thinking about making the move to the greater Sacramento metro area and you want any help with planning that move out or figuring out what's going to be the best plan for you, Lauren and I would love to hop on a phone call with you and figure out what we can do to help you find your next home. And after this video, you can stick around and check out other videos on this channel showcasing what makes living in Sacramento such a special place to live. Now, jumping right into it, we're going to be kicking things off with some good old data. We are going to be using bestplacestolive.net, and we're going to be cross-referencing that with Numbio's quality of life index. And as we go through some of the data, I'm going to go through with you some of our own personal expenses along the way. And if money is not important to you, go ahead and skip past this section of the video and you can find out why we love living in Sacramento and why we think you should live here too. Now, the first thing I want to cover, and believe me, don't shoot the messenger, but Sacramento is actually not as expensive as you may think. Now, it's definitely not what it used to be, and the pandemic definitely caused some things to increase in inflation over the last couple of years. But I will say, based off of some of these reports that we've been using, bestplacestolive.net and Numbio Quality of Life Index, Sacramento fares comparatively well to other cities in the state of California, as well as other metros around the country. Now, one of the things that you may or may not have known, but Sacramento is actually a lot less expensive than some of the other places that you may think of when you're thinking about California. So a lot of people are either coming from San Francisco, the Bay Area, San Jose, Southern California, Los Angeles County, or San Diego. So when you compare Sacramento to some of those cities, we're actually way more affordable than any of those 5 or 6 major metros. Now, however, we are going to be slightly more expensive than maybe some other cities that you see in California that are going to be more along the Central Valley, like Stockton, Modesto, Merced, Bakersfield. We are going to be a little bit more expensive than some of those areas. Now, one of the first things that we want to talk about is going to be some of your basic food items that you can expect to purchase just kind of in a normal traditional household. So currently, right now, at the time of recording this video, a gallon of milk is going to be right around $4.28. A dozen eggs is going to be right around $5.69. Bananas are going to be around 88 cents a pound. A loaf of bread is going to be right around $3.50, and a gallon of gas is going to be right around $4.50 as of July of 2024. Now, one of the things that you want to keep in mind is people's food budgets and people's food expenditures are going to differ depending on how many people are in their household and where they like to shop. Whether you're going to Costco, you're going to one of the more affordable grocery stores, or if you're going to one of the bougie Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, it all might be different. So keep that in mind as you're evaluating your budgets. Those are just going to be some staple household items that are going to be things that a lot of families typically buy. Now, going to the gas portion of it, that tends to be one of the biggest shockers when we're starting to have these consultations with you guys when you're thinking about making the move from out of state. Now, if you're moving to Sacramento from in-state, gas is actually going to probably be cheaper than what you're used to in one of those 5 major metropolitans, but gas here in California typically has anywhere from about $1 to $1.25 of additional gas tax. So it's going to be significantly higher, as well as insurance, as well as probably registration. So those are all things that you want to definitely keep in mind as you're factoring into your budget of some of your staple items. All right, so taking a quick pause, Lauren and I are licensed real estate agents in the state of California, which means that as much as we love making these videos for you, we also love helping you more with all of your real estate needs. So that phone number should be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So before we jump into that, go ahead, pause the video, take a screenshot of that phone number, and reach out to us so that way we can help put together a game plan that's going to be right for you on making the move to the Sacramento Metro. Now, jumping into more of the juicy stuff, we're gonna talk about housing and rentals. We're gonna start off with rentals first. Now, if you're looking for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city of Sacramento, specifically downtown Sacramento, that's probably gonna range you anywhere from $2,200 a month all the way up to about $2,600 a month. If you're looking for a 1-bedroom apartment outside of the city, that can range you anywhere from $1,500 a month to around $1,700 a month. And that's also gonna be dependent on which suburb you decide that you wanna live in, whether it's Roseville, whether it's Folsom, whether it's Rancho, whether it's Elk Grove. Now, if you're looking for a 3-bedroom around the city, that's probably gonna be somewhere closer to $38,000 to $4,000 a month. And a 3-bedroom outside of the city is probably gonna be somewhere between $2,500 and $2,800 a month. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of these rental numbers are going to fluctuate from area to area of Sacramento, but it's actually not too far off. Now, with the average monthly salary of around $4,200 a month, some can be okay with a single income household, but if you want to live more comfortably, it's definitely going to be a 2-income household. Let's just say you don't really want to rent, and your first thing that you want to do is you actually want to purchase a home when you come into Sacramento. Right now, the median single family home in Sacramento is right around $582,000, which is about 4.2% up from this time last year. Now, keep in mind, this is also going to be dependent on which area of Sacramento or the greater Sacramento metro that you're wanting to live in, but that's far below the state average that was just reported somewhere in the 800,000. So the nice thing about Sacramento is you can still come to this town and you can still find a relatively more affordable home than you would in some of these other big metropolitan areas in California. Now, the real estate market has started to slow down a little bit, but we are starting to get some feedback from some of the locals and for some of you guys who are relocating to the area that they are starting to see the effects of some of the increased housing prices, some of the increased cost in insurance, and some of the higher property taxes that come with living in the state of California. Now, speaking to you from a local's perspective, insurance is probably gonna be one of the craziest roller coasters that you're gonna see out of all of this stuff. Now, we're typically dealing with some insurance companies that are exiting California. Sometimes we're having to deal with fire insurance if you're gonna be a little bit more closer to the Sierra Nevada range, but that's definitely gonna be something that you're gonna wanna iron out as you're making your move to California. So one of the things that we have started to notice is we are starting to see insurance affect older homes a little bit differently than they're affecting newer homes. So if it makes sense for you to shop newer, that might not be a bad idea as well. Some of the new construction builders also offer their own homeowners insurance as well. That's usually far below the market value that you can get with other traditional insurance companies. Now, for example, we live in a 1980s single family, 1,800 square foot home. And in 2023, our insurance jumped up to about $1,500 a year, but it did come down a bit and we were able to get it back down into the $1,100 range. But I will say the same house that's a new construction build would probably be somewhere between $850 and $1,000 a year. Now, for the same breadth that we're talking about insurance, that's probably also gonna be the same case for energy bills. Our utility bills on a 1980s home is gonna be somewhere between $300 and $400 a month, and that's with City of Roseville. A new construction home, being that it's more energy efficient, the utility bills are probably going to be maybe 50% to 60% of that $300 to $400 bill cost. Now, looking at another chart from payscale.com, there's going to be 5 different categories that it's going to focus on, such as grocery, housing, utilities, healthcare, and goods and services. Now, while we're looking through the list of all of those 5 different categories, Sacramento is definitely going to rank above the national average for all 5 of those categories. But one of the things that I will say is we are below the state average for all 5 of those categories as well. Now, the blessing here is if you're relocating to Sacramento from within the state of California, you're probably going to see a lot of your monthly budgets and bills go down significantly than what you're used to. However, if you are moving here from out of state or you're moving from an area that has a lower cost of living than Sacramento, you might feel some of the pain. But one of the things I will say is usually the pain is around housing costs and gas prices. So if you can understand and manage those 2 things, usually your move to Sacramento is going to be well worth all the other stuff that we're going to talk about at the end of this video. Now, switching gears from cost of living over to quality of life. Now, while Sacramento is not a San Francisco or a New York or a big city like Los Angeles, it's a thriving city, and the cost of living is right on par with a lot of other big city metros around the country. So with all the new people who are reaching out to us wanting to move to Sacramento, let's talk about it. What's the big draw to Sacramento? Now, the cool thing about Sacramento, California is it is a melting pot of a ton of different cultures and a lot of different awesome food scenes and art scenes that people really take for granted here. But if you're coming from out of town, I think a lot of people can really appreciate the diversity that Sacramento has to offer. Now, I would say the best place to experience the mashup of all the different cultures in Sacramento is definitely going to be in downtown Sacramento. Now, unlike a lot of major metro cities across the country, Sacramento still has an affordable cost of living. It's an excellent place to build a business. It's a great place to raise a family. You have a ton of sunshine, lots of outdoor activities, and a variety of different living options that end up sealing the deal for a lot of newcomers coming to Sacramento. Now, in one of our recent videos, I made the claim of why Sacramento is one of the best places to live in California, and here's why. From riverfront parks to museums to easy access to the Sierra Nevadas to Lake Tahoe, or if you wanted to head back down to San Francisco, Sacramento is nothing short of fun things to do on the weekend. Now, the cool thing is we have pretty awesome weather most of the year. We have some pretty cool professional sports teams. We have a thriving downtown with excellent food and a ton of fun things to do and see. Now, these are just some of our favorite things of why we feel like Sacramento, California is one of the best places to live in the entire state of California. Now, with the median age of Sacramento being right around 35, it's not going to be the sleepy town or the cow town that Sacramento, California is known for. This city is also going to be a magnet for a ton of young professionals as well. Sacramento is also going to have plenty of career opportunities with everything ranging from IT to medical professionals, with Sacramento being a company destination for a lot of headquarters that are leaving the Bay Area and the high cost of some of the commercial space down there, and they're relocating it up here to Sacramento. Now, one of the other things that we get a lot of feedback from some of you awesome people that are relocating or moving here to Sacramento is a comment about our weather. Now, the cool thing about Sacramento, especially if you're coming from, let's say, the north, or you're coming from Chicago, North Dakota, Minnesota, is our winters are going to be pretty mild. During the Christmas time, it's going to probably be somewhere between 50 degrees and 60 degrees. Maybe it'll have some rain, maybe it'll be a little cold, but for the most part, our winters are really mild. We never really get snow, especially not in the Central Valley or in the Sacramento Metro. If you're still wanting to experience some of that snow, you can go up to Lake Tahoe. You can get some world-renowned skiing in. But the nice thing is you're not having to put on chains on any of your cars. You're not having to put salt on any of your driveways. It's absolutely awesome in the wintertime, and we have about 265 days of sun every year. Now, our summers can be a little bit more aggressive with that, with most of the summer being in the low to mid 90s, but we do have anywhere between 30 and 40 days a year where we will break 100 degrees temperature in the summertime, specifically more in that July and August months. Now, like I said a little bit earlier, Sacramento was ranked one of the top 10 sunniest cities with over 265 days of sunshine per year. So your spring and your fall days are going to be absolutely gorgeous. So you're definitely not going to have to worry about any vitamin D deficiencies here. Now, most of the year our trees are green and the flowers are flowering. And this is why the locals mostly love the weather in Sacramento, because of the endless things that we can do all year long. Now, while we might not be a vacation destination for a lot of families looking to take their spring break or summer break to Sacramento, California, we definitely have a lot of things to do here. Now, for the outdoor enthusiasts, we have everything from boating on Folsom Lake and the Sacramento River. You can go whitewater rafting up at the confluence. You can go hiking and biking up in the Sierra Nevadas up past Auburn. And we're just a short drive from Lake Tahoe. So if you want to get some skiing or some snowboarding in, that's going to be some of the best skiing and snowboarding that you're going to get in all of North America, and it's right in our backyard. Now, for you art enthusiasts, we're going to have everything from the Second Saturday Art Walk to the Crocker Art Museum, which is a blast for the family. Now, for you sports fans, we have the Sacramento Kings, which is a professional NBA basketball team. We have the Sacramento Republic, which is our minor league soccer team. We have our Sacramento River Cats that play at Sutter Health Park, which is our minor league baseball team. And for a short period of time, we will have some professional baseball here, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, with the former Oakland Athletics that are going to be relocating and playing their baseball seasons at Sutter Health Park, which we're super excited for. And if you guys want to stick around and not move to Las Vegas, I'm sure Sacramento would be super excited to have the Athletics here. Now let's talk about one of my absolute favorite things about Sacramento, and that it's a foodie haven. Now, Sacramento used to be known as the City of Trees for a long time, but with so many local farms just within a short drive or a close proximity to the Sacramento metro, we have been more recently called the farm to fork capital. Now, with a variety of restaurants offering every type of food that you can think of, there's probably a pretty good chance that the food didn't travel too far from the farm to your table or to your fork. Now, one of the things that I think gets brushed underneath the rug is that Sacramento's local economy is the cornerstone to the quality of life that people experience here. Now, there are so many different job opportunities, everything from healthcare to finance, IT to local and state government jobs, being that we are the capital of California. Now, some of the companies that have called Sacramento home are going to be places like Intel, Micron Technologies, Oracle, Kaiser, Sutter, and we continue to attract other local tech companies that are coming from the Bay Area, like we said, that are wanting to avoid some of the high commercial rent that are going to be located in the Bay Area. Now, one of the awesome things about Sacramento is that it is also the capital of California, which also leads us to have a ton of local and state government jobs that are great options if you're wanting to work for the state of California. Now, looking at Numbio's quality of life score, does it really surprise you that Sacramento made it into the top 30? Of course not. Now, this particular website focuses on things like purchasing power, safety, healthcare, property price to income ratios, and yes, it also covers cost of living, but why just focus on one data point? Now, some of the most important and pressing questions that you guys have when you're thinking about making the move or relocating to Sacramento are going to be usually around education and healthcare. Now, the cool thing about Sacramento is that we have a lot of really highly rated public education schools, from everything from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade or senior year of high school, as well as being home to two excellent universities, being University of California, Davis and Sac State University. Now, as it relates to the healthcare front, we also have the UC Davis Med Center that's located here locally, which usually has a lot of leading edge technology that they're doing and saving lives. And then we also have the Shriners Children's Hospital. So Sacramento parents can rest assured knowing that they are going to have excellent healthcare options and excellent educational options if they decide that they want to make the move here. Now, living in Sacramento, California means immersing yourself in a very diverse and vibrant community that knows how to live it up. Now, whether you're a craft beer enthusiast or you're a fan of the fine arts, there's always going to be something happening here. Now, many don't know this, but there are over 100 different local breweries to the greater Sacramento metro. Some of my favorites are going to be Device Brewery or Out of Bounds Brewery. And if you're a fan of the fine arts, we also have the Safe Credit Union Performing Arts Center that hosts everything from Broadway shows to musicals. And yes, I have been there before. Lauren has dragged me there a couple of times. Now, last but definitely not least is going to be a calendar that's going to be packed with events and different types of festivals throughout the year. Everything from the Farm to Fork Festival. Now, the Farm to Fork Festival showcases one of the many reasons why Sacramento food scene is phenomenal. Now, while something a little bit different like the California State Fair gives you tons of music and attraction and rides. Now, from food festivals to outdoor concerts to professional sports, Sacramento has a diverse lineup that makes sure that it is never a dull moment when you're living here in the Sacramento metro. So if you're wanting to know if Sacramento is worth its weight and you're thinking about making the move to the Sacramento metro, one of the things that we just want to focus on is knowing that Sacramento is actually one of the most affordable big cities that you can live in the state of California, and it ranks number 26 on Numbio's quality of life scale for the entire country. So you would think that it was a no-brainer. But one of the things that I will say is living in Sacramento is not for everybody. So if you're thinking about making the move to Sacramento or the greater Sacramento metro or any one of the other suburbs that we've talked about on this channel, that's where that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So give us a phone call, shoot us a text, or send us that email so that way we can put together the best game plan that's going to be right for you if you're thinking about making the move to the greater Sacramento metro.